intern. At the same time, I do a lot of hackathons. I've done 50 hackathons so far, won 40 of them. And I build a lot of projects here and there. And excited to talk about like hackathons in general and how to, have a strategy to win. And there I have Ryan, my teammate most of the time, and my co-founder for the sound that we're working on as well. So I will give it to him now.
Thank you. Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Ryan. I'm a software engineering intern at Shopify right now, and yeah, I haven't won as many hackathons as Satyam, but I think we make a good team, and I'd like to share some tips on how I think you can win.
Awesome. Let me know when we can start with
Oh,
the workshop then.
yeah. We have the recording going, so you guys are good to start whenever you're ready.
Oh, awesome. Wait, is my video on? Do I have to have my video on?
I don't see it. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you're planning to share your screen,
Okay,
uh, you should have access to that.
okay, awesome. Well, it's gonna be mainly like a Q&A kind of a workshop. We'll talk more.
Okay.
We That's how we will go. So when it comes to hackathons, like there are a lot of things that you do, right? First of all, your first step is actually the main one. So that is brainstorming on the theme, because that has been like quite a few times when I used to do hackathons, like in my first few hackathons, I should say. I feel so old when I say back in the days, but like when I used to, when I was getting started, like 2 or 3 years ago, I used to build things just for the sake of it, and just something cool, even though it if it doesn't match the theme. But that doesn't help you win hackathons, because most of the time there is a theme for a reason. So you have to make sure that you are brainstorming your ideas on the theme. As we know, we have theme over here as well. I had a chat with like quite a good amount of people like earlier today, and everyone are building like really cool things on the theme. So make sure first of all your theme, like your idea, is on your theme, and brainstorm mainly for like try to brainstorm as much as you can, because nowadays it's way easier to build things than to just like how it was earlier. So most of the time, like even me and Ryan, there has been times when we like pivoted like 10 hours before the deadline. So never be afraid of coming up with a new idea, or like switching at the last minute. uh, at the same time, make sure to like communicate about it with your teammates. For example, me and Ryan, we were at Hackathon earlier this year. It was like in fall itself, which is like Canada's biggest hackathon, I believe. And over there, we tried building something which was really cool. It was new, at the same time really something that we had no experience with. So we tried building it for like the majority of hackathon, and 10 hours before the deadline, we were like, oh, this is not going to work out. We won't be able to have a working MVP by the end of it, because that's a main goal, right? To have like a proof of concept or a working MVP at the end of the hackathon. And we realized that we won't be able to have it if we keep going at this pace. So that's why we decided to pivot. We pivoted like just 10 hours before the deadline. We were able to build something really cool. We were able to build a game, like a Web3 game. And by the end of it, we had like a really cool working deployed game that everyone played. And we were, I think, the only Web3 project that were in the top teams. And we were able to win a track prize as well with that. So never be afraid of, pivoting, even if like right now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have like really cool ideas. You guys are working on, something really cool. Like hopefully it's going well as well. If it's not, give us a call on Mentor's channel. But make sure that you are not afraid of pivoting, in case you think that, oh, someone asked a question. Yeah, in case you think that it's not good enough. What does a Web3 game look like? Honestly, it looks like any other game. It's just like some Web3 features that are implemented in it. I can just give you an overview of that project actually. It was called Token Turrets. So we had a online 3D multiplayer game. It was actually. So we had 3D models that we implemented in a website. You could control it. It was more of a RPG kind of style game. The main feature was forgot the term for that. Ryan, can you back me up with that? You remember the
Yeah,
term? Oh yeah.
uh, I posted a link to the project in
Oh
case
yeah.
anyone's interested. There's a dev post link, but yeah, the main feature idea of our project was because it was Web3, we were able to have like when people enter the game, they can put stake into like an escrow fund, and then the winner of the tournament is automatically paid out by by the chain. And so it's sort of like a trustless, like a headless tournament feature where you don't need an organizer to have this competition. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like one of the main features of Web3 that we implemented, like creating. Didn't have to create a smart contract from scratch because they had like a lot of things to just use and make API requests to. So it was easier, and the track actually was Ripple. And like if you guys are ever interested in like residency things or like hackathons in general, you should check that out as well. I was their mentor earlier this year, and they do cool stuff too. So yeah, that's about Web3 games. And once you have like a idea that okay, you want to build something like this, but you don't know, like sometimes you just don't know how to approach it, and the best way to figure that out is our favorite Claude or ChatGPT. I kind of hate ChatGPT, but at the same time, it kind of gives you a breakdown of things you actually need to do. And as soon as you have the things that you need to do, you can start approaching it and dividing the task. So what we normally do is basically, let's say if it's me and Ryan, then we will divide our task in such a way that I will be working on mainly the backend part of things, and Ryan will be making the UI look good. At the same time, the presentations. So this part is really important. It actually helps you in real life as well, like in real world when you go out and start working. In case you guys don't work, like I'm guessing like there is a really diverse age group over here. So in case like whenever you go to start working professionally, you will see that you do something similar. So that actually helps you in the long run as well. You divide the task that okay, maybe backend will be of this person, authentication will work on this particular like guy, and at the end of it, what you have to do is make sure that everyone are on the same track. Someone asked a question, I guess. What do you really think that matters more? The idea, the implementation, the presentation, they're interrelated with each other, but what makes it? That's actually a good question. So it actually depends on each other. Like they all depend on each other. Like let's say your idea, if it doesn't relate with the theme, then nothing will matter at all. Like your implementation and presentation won't matter that much because you won't be really targeting theme. So I would say it's more like first idea and then the implementation, and then no, first the idea, then presentation, then the implementation. Implementation matters a lot too, but at the same time, you need to be able to showcase what you are building. Like Ryan will have more to talk about it later on. But yeah, that's how I think of it because most of the time in hackathons, actually, we see that hackers are not the best person when it comes to present. So it gets a little harder. So in order to differentiate, if you can present it well as well, it makes like a huge difference. That's what we try to focus on as well when we are doing our hackathons. Ryan is the main guy who presents our ideas as well, so he will be talking more about it later on. And even he has a workshop tomorrow on the same thing. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, so dividing the task. So after you divide the task, you got to make sure that people are actually able to like do it. Like they don't have any blockers. If they have blocker, then you hop on a call. You use the mentors because yeah, use your mentors really well because they know they have been through all the hackathons. They have the idea that okay, you will go through these like issues every single time, and they can help you out with that. Mini stand-up meetings. Yeah, mini stand-up meetings, like literally that. You're giving PTSD on on a Saturday. Yeah, yeah, do that. If you guys have like any questions, feel free to ask the mentors and the organizers as well. Uh, Another question, I believe, vibe coding for hackathons, yes or no? To what extent? Top tools you tried? That's a good question. I recommend a lot actually vibe coding in hackathons because vibe coding, so people have different opinions on it. My opinion is it's good for early stage projects, something that you are not planning to scale that much and you just want like a proof of concept out there as soon as possible. So in that particular scenario, I believe vibe coding is good. Um, my recommendation for the tool will be Cloud Code, but the most like the thing that you can use right now, like right away without paying for it, is Cursor, I believe, because Cursor has like a student discount, so it just lets you use it for free to like a certain extent. So I would recommend checking out Cursor and like Cloud Code, but Cloud Code is like kind of expensive, so it depends. What did you call it? It's called Cloud Code. Cloud Code. I'm just gonna type it out in the chat. And Cursor.
Yeah,
Cursor
Cursor
is
is
the
like
code editor.
a fork. It's like a fork of VS Code. So built in within the IDE, there's like a chat panel that you can talk to Claude or whatever model you want to use, and then it make code edits for you. But like I feel
Mhm.
like the problem with vibe coding too heavily is once you rely on it too much, the code base just gets really, really big, and then you sort of have like no idea what's going on with the code because it's all written by Cursor. So yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, that has actually happened to us as well in the past. Because you know how like all these like LLMs, they don't have memory. If you like, in case you don't know already, like they don't have a memory. Whenever you ask it a question, it will send all the questions that you have asked before, and then your latest question. Let's say you are like having a chat with it. Like whenever you are using actually like ChatGPT, that's the easiest example. When you send it a message, it will send all the messages that you sent it before as well, in order to like recall that okay, you sent this message before, because that's how LLMs work, and they don't have like actual memory. There are people building solutions on top of it, like super memory, mem0 AI, and stuff. So it might get better, but yeah, that's why like LLMs don't really work that well when it comes to like vibe coding. Try to do it, but at the same time have an idea about what you are doing so that you can like edit it and update it. Another question, I believe, what if you guys aren't able to implement your idea due to lack of time or something? Is it okay to still present the prototype even if it's in fully functioning? Oh, that's actually a good question. So actually, to give a story about my first hackathon, I had zero experience of tech. I just tried to build something as well. I watched videos, but still all I could do was create like a static website, like literally that was it for my first hackathon. And somehow we presented it so well that we ended up winning, because you are in this particular scenario where your project is not working, let's say, but there are going to be more people like that as well, right? So in that scenario, you have to make sure that you're presenting it well, so that you can at least show that this was your idea and this is what you tried to build, because that matters a lot. So even if you're not able to like fully implement your idea, just having a prototype, even on Figma or even like a PPT, sometimes helps a lot. I think there is another question. What do you use to measure how good or bad your idea is? Huh, that's actually a good question. I would see if it exists first. If it exists, then how we are, like differentiating ourselves, and how it is correlating with the theme. So, for example, if the theme is to build games, then let's say if you are building a quiz app, then it's kind of different, right? It's not on the like same spectrum. So quiz app is good for like student themed or like university themed hackathons, and like token trade kind of games are good for hackathon that we worked on. So that's how we like measure it. If it on the theme, and if you're able to see that okay, it's actually correlating on it like really well, then it's good. And at the same time, you got to talk to your teammates, because that's really important. You're not going to think about your idea that okay, it's bad, but your teammate as a third person, they will be able to like see it, and they will be able to measure it well. So try to communicate with your teammates. That's what we do as well. We brainstorm a lot of different ideas, then we will note it down that okay, we have these ideas, now let's start roasting each one of them, like how bad they are, and
Yeah.
eventually you will find a good one. So just go with that. Some key points to make a good presentation. Oh, Ryan is your guy. He will be talking more about it. I just
Yeah.
have Yeah, I just have a couple more points, and after that, Ryan can take over from me, and he will talk about the presentation and stuff. So yeah, once you divide all your tasks, your next step should be basically building it. Like okay, let's say you're building like I shouldn't say the project idea, but yeah, like one of the teammates that I talked to, they were not able to figure out which model they should use, something like that. So in those kind of scenarios, you can again use Cursor or Claude or ChatGPT, even the free version, because they give you idea about all the existing packages uh, that are already out there that you can use and implement your feature. So try doing that. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask the mentors as well. And once you have your like proof of concept thing working, try to get it out there on the web, like either on the web or try to like get some sort of prototype out there. So if it's a website, if it's a game, try to get it working, try to make sure that people are able to use it, like judges are able to use it. Because if your project is something that they are able to use it, then they have more like more emotion attached to it, because they're actually like trying it out. So try to get it out there, have a live URL so that people can use it and give you feedback as well, and they can actually see that the project is working. Because like majority of the times hackathon projects like don't even work. Like I used to judge hackathons as well earlier, and we have seen that okay, most of the projects, they are not even like working. They just say they are working, but they are not. So like try to get something live so that judges have more emotions towards your project. And don't rely on the judges to like run your entire project locally, because they won't have that much time. They just have like 3 to 5 minutes each project to judge them. So make sure that it's easier for them to judge it. The more easier you make it for them, the more easier it will be for them to give you more points. So try to do that. At the same time, in between the project, make sure you're using something like GitHub, and like have the version control so that people can actually collaborate well with you, like your other teammates. And after that, just do the presentation well. Just cross your fingers, because you have done your best, because that's what matters. Like like winning and losing is not the eventual goal in hackathons. It's about building something really cool that is solving a problem, or that is building something that people want. So just have that in the back of your mind and know that okay, that's what your eventual goal is, and hope for the best and hopefully win. And now I will pass it to Ryan, and he will talk about more about the presentations and some points from his side.
Yeah. All right. I made a slideshow. Can you guys see? Okay, yeah. So how do you pitch? I think people underestimate like how important the presentation is. In terms of like hackathons, you work on a project for like 24 hours, and you really only just have 5 minutes to show the judges like what you worked on. And I've been to a lot of hackathons, myself personally, where our project was like super technically impressive. Like we built something super, super cool, but then at the pitch, like it just was not good enough, or it didn't come across to the judges. So we ended up not winning or doing worse. Um, so there's like three, like this is what I'm going to go over. I think there's three really important things when you're making a presentation. That's the structure of your presentation or the content, the design of your slides, and also how you deliver the presentation. Um, so what makes a good pitch? I think like you have to think about it from the perspective of judges. Like what are they looking for when, they're seeing like all these pitches, right? Like what do you think they're looking for, right? And then you have to consider like are they technical? Are they non-technical, right? And something that's important to remember is like judges will sometimes hear like 10 pitches in a day, right? They're sitting in the room for like 3 or 4 hours, right? And then they're just like hearing pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch, right? Um, so, like, how do you make yourself stand out when people are, hearing all of these things in a row? So, how can we like combat these things, right? So, for the technical and non-technical part, I think what you can do to, make your pitch better in that aspect is just make it as easy as possible for judges to understand what you're building, like what your product is. Like, don't cram a lot of technical jargon in there. Just make it very simple, right? And to combat the fact that the judges are hearing like 10 plus pitches in the same day, lead with the thing that's like the most impressive about your project, right? Like from the very start, you want to like, give them something cool so they don't start zoning out from the beginning and thinking like, oh, this is just like another pitch, right? Surprise them at the beginning so they like lock in and listen to your presentation. So in terms of structure, I think the pitch has like 6 key things that you should go over: problem, solution, your demo, technicals, your impact, and then maybe at the end, like a team slide or like what you learned from the hackathon if you have time. But usually you don't have a lot of time to give your presentation. So I would stick to the first five. Those are like the very key things that you have to include. So for your problem side, just briefly, like 10 to 20 seconds, talk about why you made your app. Like what problem is it solving, right? You can have statistics, you can have like a story, but just like keep it really short. Like I think a big problem that a lot of people have when they're doing their pitch is that they spend too long on the problem and not enough time on the solution. They try to convince, they feel like they have to convince their audience that the problem they're solving is real. So they tend to like spending a lot of time on it, like just going over it like too much. Like your audience understands that your problem is real, like just within a couple of sentences. So don't spend too much time on your problem. When you're talking about your solution, just like I like to think of it like if I were explaining this to my mom, like would she understand what I'm building? Right? So keep it very, very simple. Like this is not the part where you should be going over your tech stack or anything. Just being like, we built an app that does this, right? And then it should be very clear that how you're solving the problem and what your app does. For your demo, there's two ways you can do it. You can do a recorded demo or you can do live demo. Live demo is always better. I remember I was sitting in the judging room of a hackathon, right? And then like there was this judge who was like working at Google, and after the presenters were done, like I think he was a little harsh, but if it was a recorded demo, he would be like, oh, like I don't really know if the project works. Like I don't like trust that it works just because it was recorded. That's like a very extreme example. But I think in most cases, like having a recorded demo is fine. But if you can do a live demo, it's always better. So just how much confidence do you have in your app, right? And you can make that judgment yourself. But in my opinion, you should always do a live demo because, some judges might be super harsh and question whether or not your product actually works. After your demo, you should talk about technicals. So like what's technically impressive about your app. So here's where you can sort of put in like, oh, we use this tech stack or like we use this technology to do this. But again, still like don't overload it with tech jargon and buzzwords. Like still try to keep it like succinct, keep it concise. And for your impact side, you can talk about how like what impact would your solution have. Um, when people are actually using it. This is sort of bringing it back to the problem and kind of wrapping it all up. Um, so you can say something like, like what percentage of people that are experiencing the problem, would have the problem alleviated by your solution, right? That's one way of doing it. Yeah. And then in your team slide, at the end, you can just go over like, these are the people that built it. What did we learn in the hackathon? But usually you run out of time, so that the slide is not too important. Right. So in terms of design, keep it simple. Use accent colors sparingly, and just remember that the judges are either listening to you or looking at your slides. If you cram your slides full of text, they're not going to listen to what you're saying, or they're just going to be listening to you and not reading your slide. So what you should have on your slide is just super clean, super minimal, not a lot at all. Um, how do you speak well? So onto the delivery. I think people like usually speak faster than they think. So I would like always err on the side of speaking too slow as opposed to speaking too fast. Like when you're presenting, even if you pause for like a couple seconds, to you that could feel like 10 seconds, right? So just slow down and don't speak too fast. Because also you have to understand that like when the judges are listening to your presentation, you don't want to like blast them with words like so fast that they don't even understand what's going on, right? You have to speak slowly and so they will understand you. In terms of volume, I've seen a lot of presentations where sometimes the speakers speak too softly. So again, like err on the side of speaking too loudly as opposed to too quietly, right? Because if it's too quiet, they can't hear you. But if it's too loud, it's just like, and be confident, practice. It's very important. Yeah. So common mistakes that I've seen in presentations, having too much tech jargon, like people will just be like, oh, we use like machine learning models and this and that and blah 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 blah. And then like sometimes the judges are like just like, what is going on? Right? So don't talk too much of tech. Keep it simple. Yeah, like I said before, spending too long convincing your audience that the problem is real, the audience usually understands within like 10 seconds that like this is a real problem. You don't have to convince them. bad Q&A section slash demo, right? So after your presentation, usually there'll be like a Q&A section where the judges can ask you questions. Having a weak Q&A section will also impact like how they see your project. So what you can do is try to brainstorm some questions that you think the judges could ask you. A really good tool for this is like, showing brainstorming with your teammates or even just asking ChatGPT, like, what are some Q&A questions that judges could ask, right? And then try to predict the questions before. So if they ask you, you can have an answer ready. Having a bad demo also can hurt your presentation. Before, just like really rehearse like if you're doing a live demo, really rehearse what you're gonna show. Keep the demo on time. If your demo like runs too long, you're gonna not have enough time to get through the rest of your presentation. So make sure you practice the demo section as well. And yeah, um, any questions?
I think there are quite a few questions that we should check out. So the one of them is actually pretty interesting. How can you tell apart good and bad teammates early in the hackathon, and how do you get good teammates as an introvert?
Yeah, maybe I can say from my perspective, and then you can give your perspective as well.
Yep.
It's a good question. Like the main thing I use to tell apart good and bad teammates is just whether or not like I would enjoy working with them. Like you can set up a chat with them, maybe like a quick call and just like introduce yourselves, tell yourself about each other. And then usually from just speaking with them for like 5 or 10 minutes, like you can get the vibe and you can tell whether or not you want to work with them. Because a hackathon partner, you're gonna be together for like 10, 12 hours, right? Building your project. So if you don't, even if they're like super, super impressive or they have a lot of accomplishments, if you don't like working with them, then it's just you're just not gonna have a good time and it's not gonna be fun. So yeah, that's the metric I use.
That's so fair. At the same time, you will just get like a vibe. Like when you're calling or talking to someone, just trust your instinct. And like once you get a teammate, for example, like for us, for me and Lion, when we are doing hackathons, when we are looking for new people, if one of us doesn't get like a good vibe, that okay, maybe like we don't want to work with this person, then we just won't do it. And just be respectful of it. Don't be like, hey, I don't like you, or something like that, and just trash it. Don't do that. Be respectful of everyone. At the same time, try to just communicate it. Just have a call beforehand, see if you guys work. If you don't, if it doesn't vibe, just don't do it with them, because you're gonna be working with them for the next like 24 36 hours and maybe more after that, like in future, if you decided to like take your hackathon project ahead of the hackathon. So make sure that you vibe with them. If you vibe, that's all you need. And like technical abilities is actually the second priority at this point, I believe. That's what I look for as well, like from the beginning. If you are a good person, you can figure it out. But if you just don't have like a good vibe, then that just won't work. You will have clashes all the time. Like having clashes is good, but at the same time you need to have clashes in ideas and building project, not in in terms of vibe and stuff. So that's what I look for. Are there
Yeah.
any more questions?
How do you scope an idea so you don't over engineer and miss the deadline? What do you think, Sachin?
uh this is this is something that actually kind of happened to us, right? Like at Hackathon.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you first need to create like milestones. Actually, you need to have like milestones that okay, this is V1. Like in V1, we want that okay. For example, making like a if you're making a game, then your V1 should be to have the characters there, and then make them move. That should be like a V1 kind of thing. And after that, like create multiple milestones and go and try to achieve them, and have like all the over engineering stuff at the end of it. Don't try to build like an entire like next generation startup or just like an open AI kind of company in one day. Just try to create something that just works and showcase your idea that you have in your mind, just like a proof of concept, a prototype. Like when I say a prototype, I mean like something just that works and shows that you have built something, and it's showing what you had in your mind for the project. So just try to get that done first, and then go for the next one. So in short, just have priorities, have milestones, and just go on them like step by step.
Yeah, I think as well something that's helpful is like usually you can start with a very broad scope, like sort of like a North Star vision. And then as the hackathon progresses, you usually get a better sense of like, okay, this is possible, this is not possible. So like having a really broad scope initially and then de-scoping during the hackathon when you realize like certain aspects might not be technically feasible by the deadline is also super important. Yeah. I'm seeing in terms of presentation, what is the best way to keep the judges watching your whole presentation? Like in terms of virtual hackathons where we record our presentations, like the DevOps one. Um, I think like all the tools that you use to make an in-person presentation versus virtual are still the same. Keep it simple, keep it interesting from the start, right? And just really follow the structure, right? Like if you keep your presentation interesting, don't have any bullshit in there. Wait, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. Don't have any like stuff in there that's like, you know, unimportant, then it's people will watch.
I can agree with that, and especially with like virtual hackathons, it gets a bit like difficult to present well. So at the same time, like try to have like a good demo video as well, in case like sometimes that might be something wrong and your demo might just break. So just have like a demo video as well on your dev post, so that people can see in case something breaks in your live presentation. There is another question. So when you talk about a prototype, what do you mean? Does a Figma design also count as one? I should actually reframe it. Our version of prototype is different, but when it comes to prototype, even if you just have like a Figma design, it counts. That's what we presented like in my first hackathon. That's what we did, like me and like this other teammate that I had. We just decided to have like a Figma prototype and just show it over there. The actual project that we worked on, we didn't even present it. We just like added it as a GitHub repository. So like prototype can differ from person to person, but at the same time, if you have a Figma design tool, then it counts as a prototype. And there's another question: how to make quick decisions when things don't look promising. You want to take this, right?
Yeah, sure. How do you make quick decisions when things don't look promising? Um, I mean, like there's I think setting yourself, like giving yourself a time limit is very important. Like if you're really working on something and you like really like the idea, but it's looking really hard, like what we did in a hackathon I did with Satyam, U of T hacks, is we were like, okay, like if we're not done by like 10 p.m. or if it's not possible, if we can't get the MVP out by like 11 p.m., then we're gonna stop and pivot and do something else or like try something else. But like we're gonna give ourselves like 2 hours to work on it, and if it doesn't work out by that time, then we have to pivot, right? So I think setting deadlines is a good way to decide whether or not you want to make a decision. And then in terms of like making the quick decisions, Sasha, maybe you can answer that. How do you
Yeah.
pivot?
That's a good question actually. So like we face issues with that like every single time. It's not something that you will just get used to, because like pivoting after working on an idea for the longest time is kind of hard, but you just gotta like accept it. I believe that okay, afterwards, like we just have like say like 10 hours, what we will do in these 10 hours. So you have to make sure that you are like uh mindful of the time that you have left. Like when we were doing U of T hacks, I remember even over there, I believe we had like we kind of wasted like 20 hours, I believe, over there too, right? So
Yeah.
uh, after that, we just decided that okay, we have like this much time, and like we can't just like build every single thing that we have in our mind right now for this project, and whatever we will be able to build, it won't be like good enough. So let's like pivot a little bit. It wasn't like a complete pivot, but at the same time, like it was a small pivot that we were able to make and showcase that okay, this is what we have in our mind. Like we were trying to build like an AR app, but React Native and AR doesn't go like hand in hand. It's kind of yeah, we have had like bad experiences actually with AI in the past. Yeah, just be mindful of your time and be mindful of what you can get done. And as long as you know that, you can always just just pivot, just talk to your teammates and pivot, because that's really important. Like if it's just like two people, it's easier to pivot. But if it's like a bigger team, you have to like communicate even like better. Like why do you want to pivot? Because you have to explain to others as well, right? And like mindful of like statements and whatever they have in their mind. So yeah, that's what I have for that. I think there are more
Yeah.
questions. Wait, yeah, we covered that one. Is it okay to go to an in-person hackathon just to make connections? It's completely okay. I see so many people do that. Like, I
Yeah.
want to do that, to be honest. And like Emily added that you can go to conferences as well. Yeah, you can go to conferences to a lot of events as well that takes place like all around the world, wherever, like whichever part of the world you are in. I'm pretty sure there will be like some sort of events, hackathons, workshops going on. So you can even go there. Any of them, just for the connections, just to meet people. Get their LinkedIn, get your LinkedIn to 500 connections. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can do
I
that.
No, I think something that's really important as well is if you're attending a hackathon just for connections, then if you have a team, you should just make it very clear to your teammates, like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the project. In case, like, just set your expectations clear, because some people go because they want to win, some people go because they want to make connections. Like, both are totally fine, but just make sure to communicate your expectations clearly with the people you're working with, so everyone's aligned on like how much contribution that they're going to make to the project. And I think like making connections is also like super easy at hackathons. Some of them will have career fairs. Like this year at Hack the North, there was a bunch of, you know, companies with different booths there as well that were like talking about, like, they sent some engineers from the company and you could speak with them. And so yeah, definitely like going to hackathons for connections is great.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on the like expectations part. Always like communicate it with your teammates. Like even if you are like looking for a new teammate, that's like actually like something you should ask before that. That hey, what's your expectations with that? Like, do you wanna build to win, or do you wanna just like build for a bit and attend side workshops, side events as well in the hackathon?
Yeah.
So yeah. There are more questions, I believe. Which one is the newest one? What's your suggestion to starting over fresh for hackathon without much coding experience? Hmm. Okay, I will go first for this. So right now it's much different than what it used to be when I started. But if I was you, I would just leverage all the tools that we have now. Uh, for example, we have Cursor, right? So just talk to it like your teammate. Uh, like we use Cursor at our work as well. How I use that is I will just act that Cursor is my intern, and I will just tell it that yeah, bring me coffee. No, not like that, but like you can just ask it questions and it will just help you. You don't need much coding experience, especially for hackathons nowadays. As long as you have an idea in your mind and you have like a basic understanding of how things work, you should be good. And even if you don't have those understanding, you can always Google. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude, you can use other tools. Ask questions to them, get your answers, and just build it. It should be way easier now. So just don't have like any imposter syndrome, and just go for it, and you should be good. Ryan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I get a lot of questions. Like, people are like, "Oh, I feel like I'm not prepared enough to do a hackathon yet. Like, I am not confident in my coding skills. Like, what should I learn before I do a hackathon?" And like, honestly, like, you don't have to have experience. At my first ever hackathon, like, I didn't have any experience with web dev, and we were like, "Okay, like, we want to make a website, right?" And then I think back then ChatGPT wasn't so great yet. So back then but but literally, I think in the hackathon, we just looked up a YouTube video, how do you make a website, right? And then from that hackathon, we just learned how to do React, how to do a backend, right? How to, like, I think we were using Python and like Flask or something like that to host a backend, right? And then just we just learned it on the spot, and then we made a website, and then we won. It was like really surprising, but just you don't have to have any skills to do a hackathon. Like, you can go and learn and just do whatever it takes to make your project. Like, learn. My advice is like learn what you need to build as you're building the project, and don't try to learn everything before you go into your first hackathon. Yeah. All right. What level of acknowledgement should I have to start participating in hackathons? Because I'm not really confident. Yeah, so think that was you don't have to have any experience, but um honestly in hackathons, the biggest challenge I face was people disappearing midway and not doing the part they were assigned. Honestly, that's really messed up since in the end we have to cover those tasks as those members are not responding to any tips to overcome the situation. Um I think like what you can do is from the beginning, like this is again like with the expectations thing, right? Like try to pick team have a open conversation with your teammates, meet them before you start working with them, and just like be very honest and clear with your expectations. Like, do you have any other things that are going to come up in the hackathon that you might have to work on? Like, do you have a midterm after the hackathon that you might have to like study for? Or do you have other obligations, right? Just be super transparent and clear. And when they disappear, it sucks, but like, yeah, I think the best thing to do is try to prevent like working with people who are not like having the same like level of expectation as you from the start. So,
Yeah,
any
and
advice?
this one is actually really common, like your teammates disappearing, and especially in virtual hackathons. In in-person hackathons, it's not that common because like you are in person, like where will you go? uh, but virtual hackathons, people just like sometimes stop texting. Like that's what happened in my first hackathon. We were a team of 4 people, and 2 people just decided to like stop texting like 7 hours before the deadline. So what we did at that time was just divide their task between us, like me and the other teammate that I had at that time. We just built it by ourselves, and that's how like you should actually approach it because you can't do much about it. Like they might have some, other priorities, or maybe something happened that they had to, deal with. So you never know about that. So what you can do is just take over that task, divide it between each other, and just go for it from there. It's more like you have to do it. Like you can't just like wait for them to come back sometimes. But at the same time, like make sure that you have communicated that, like if they are not responding, then only think that they have disappeared. It's not like if they went for like an hour long nap, they took like 2 hours of nap, and you thought that they disappeared. Sometimes like sleep takes over. So make sure that like they are not there. Then that's when you are taking up their task because or else it won't be good as a hackathon teammate to just like not respect their work. So yeah, just communicate that. Uh,
Yeah. No, honestly, actually, even at Hack the North this year, I saw a team and there was a guy that just left for like 12 hours. And then like at the end, after they submitted, like ready to, he came back. And then the teammates were like, where did you go for 12 hours? Like, where were you for the past 12 hours? So definitely it happens like way more than you think. Yeah.
the question, balancing hackathons with university, how to prioritize which ones exactly to participate in, because more than winning, it's also a learning experience. Huh, that's a good question. So honestly, for me, I relate with this a lot because I'm from like I was in China before this fall, like same place as Joel. So over there we don't have that many hackathons, so we had to move like to participate in hackathons. We have to travel, and you can't do that much of travel while being in university, by being in university and attending classes in between your midterms. But at that point, all you have to do is prioritize. Like you have to have your priorities straight. That okay, you are doing this hackathon because you have this thing in mind that you're gonna get it, from the maybe connections, or maybe like a prize that you have in mind, something like that. But it's more of like a priority kind of thing. That okay, you have to have priorities. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But I can definitely tell you this from my experience that every single time I've been to a hackathon by, let's say, missing a party, by missing a exam. I've missed exams too, which is bad. Don't do that. But yeah, I've always gained something out of it. I've gained some sort of connection that have helped me in like later in the time. I've gained a friend. I've gained knowledge that I'm using now. So it's always useful. So just prioritize it, and you will be learning something eventually. So yeah, just participate and learn from them. Build something cool. That's all I have for that. And do you have
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah. I've definitely missed an exam to do a hackathon too. But I think like just in y- like in your mind, like you have to make the decision for yourself, like what is more important to you. I think hackathons are always valuable, but at the same time, there's so many of them that if you miss one as well, like it's not the end of the world. You could just look for the next one. And like just make your own priorities, right? Like if you're having a lot of work at university and you're like falling behind your courses, then maybe doing a hackathon isn't the best thing to do. But if you just have like a little bit of work and you have some free time, then I would say like there's no bad thing about doing a hackathon. Like Sachin said, even if you don't win, you'll come out of it having learned something new or like made new friends or even like increase your LinkedIn follower account by like maybe like 10 or something like that, right? Like just there's always something you can get out of a hackathon. So yeah,
LinkedIn Warriors, yeah. Uh,
yeah,
was that the last question? I think so. Are there any more questions for us?
yeah.
Uh, maybe like have somebody else put a password on your phone and then you can't open it until after you're done with the hackathon. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, since there aren't any other questions. Oh, okay, there is.
Participating with the same teammates always or changing. Um, I mean, I think it's good to participate with the same teammates. Like if you guys like have a good vibe with each other, work well, why not?
Yeah, and at the same time, like it's not like you have to always work with them because like there can be circumstances where you can't work together with the same team. Uh, for example, if I'm going to some other place and Ryan is not there, then I will have to find new teammates. For example, he's not coming to China for my next hackathon, so I have to find new teammates. So it's fine if you don't go with the same team always. It's good to like meet new people as well, work with them, or you learn something from them as well. So yeah. How did you handle bugs or blockers under time pressure? That's a good question. First of all, it frustrates so much when you have like a blocker for like more than 10 minutes, I believe, in hackathons. Uh, but it's more like you have to figure it out, I believe. I don't have like a like a good answer for that, but it's just like I think it's since it's like hackathon, right? So you just like it just unlocks some part of your brain that you figure it out like within like 10-20 minutes or maybe half an hour at max. Like I've never had like a situation where I had to face like a lot of like spend a lot of time doing it, so or fixing it. Ran, do you have anything for it?
Yeah, no, like what you said earlier, like there's mentors as well. You can like talk to the mentors about your problems and like they're usually very experienced, like they've done a lot of hackathons themselves, so they might know how to help you out as well. Eh, use ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT is a good tool to use as well. Like it can like it just knows so much. And also like honestly, you could talk to other teams as well. If you're at an in-person hackathon, like you know, I think a lot of people are like scared of like, oh, like if I share my idea with other teams, they're gonna steal it and then they're gonna take our project. But like I feel like everyone like has their own ideas. And like you could there's like a certain point in the hackathon where even if you do share your ideas, it literally doesn't matter because there's no way they're gonna be able to get like a project out, like even if they steal your idea. You will just you've worked on your project for longer. So collaborate with other people, like work with the people next to you, right? You're all grinding for the same hackathon, working on different projects, so you guys can help each other out, I think. All right.
Uh,
What if by the end of your build, your initial idea deviates so much from your original idea? Wouldn't it be lame to try and explain that your idea was actually much cooler? Um, like if you try to explain it in that way, then yes. I think it's like focus on what's impressive about like your current project, and then at the end, you can have like an impact for your impact section, you can talk about like in the future, like this is what we can develop, this is what we have in plan for the what we have planned for the project, right? And then if you frame it like that, it's less like, oh, we had all these ideas, but then we couldn't do it, so this is what we ended up with, right? Like try to frame it in a way where it's like we have this working, this is what it does right now. In the future, we can keep building, and this is what we're gonna do,
Yeah,
Any
and
advice?
like judges are not expecting you to like build like exactly what you had in your mind because it's hard to do that. So like just show it as like a V1 that okay, this is like a V1 and this is what we have like planned eventually to transform it into. So yeah, you can always do that.
Yeah. Okay. In a 3-minute presentation, is it a good idea to just show your project while explaining the problem solution along with it, since your project has a lot of features? Um, is it a good idea to show your project? Like, so it goes back to the thing where it's like they're either gonna listen to you explain or they're gonna watch the video, right? Like, it's really hard for people to multitask. So it's it's up to you. I've seen like some videos where the teams will like have the video of the demo going in the background while they're explaining the project. Yeah, like personally, I think it's better to not do that. But like you said, if there's a time constraint, then that's what you might have to do. So, if you're gonna do that, I would just say like, yeah, I would just say like keep what you're saying as simple as possible. Or like when you're like doing when you're signing up or something like that, right? Then you can start talking a bit more because that's a little more like boring, right? But you don't want to risk like speaking during like the cool part of your demo, and then the judges are not looking at your demo or not like focusing too much on your demo and actually listening to you present because when your project is working, you want to see that you want them to see that, right? So you can talk for a bit, at the more like boring parts of your demo, and then when it's cool, maybe you can just stop talking and just show them and see how it works, or like have like some text pop up on the screen. Yeah, Sachin, anything on this?
No, I think you covered most of it.
Yeah, I think we answered the yeah, how do you handle bugs or blockers under time pressure question as well. Um,
Any other questions?
Sasha?
uh, wait, what, what, what did you mean by host stealing your idea? Do you recommend drinking and coding? That's a good
I don't
question.
know if they mean hosts. I think they mean just probably like other participants, maybe.
Oh, I
Because I
see.
mean, like the admin
Yeah,
of the hackathon are not participating, if that's
yeah,
what you were thinking.
yeah. No, that makes sense. Like I've seen that a lot of people think that okay, if they pitch the idea or if they discuss the idea, people gonna steal it. But honestly, no one's gonna do that. Like you have your own idea for a reason. You have a story behind it. Like every single project that you build, you have a story behind it, right? Like how did you come up with the idea? What problems you faced? How you built the solution? So at the end of the day, if someone actually does it, like I've never seen someone doing it, but in case someone does it, just report them to the organizers, show them the proof that okay, you started on it before before them, and at the same time, like implementation matters. Like how you have built it, how you present it, that matters a lot too. So yeah, idea is just like an idea without implementation. So yeah, focus on your project more. And if something really bad happening, like if they even steal your code, just report them to the organizers. That has actually happened to me too. So like one time someone just stole my previous project and submitted to a hackathon. Someone else reported them. I did not, but they got caught. So you know uh
Yeah, and I mean also like for every idea that you have, or even if you want to do a startup or anything, like there's going to be 100 people around the world having the same exact idea as you, doing the same exact thing. Like you might think that like your idea is unique or original, but I guarantee you, like someone has thought of it before and they have tried it somewhere else, or like people are also working on the same thing as you. So like what is important about your project is not the idea, but like Sachin said, it's like the execution, the implementation, right? Like how can you do it? How can you implement it better? How can you execute better than like the hundreds of people who are like working on the same thing as you. Like it's the same goes for hackathons, same for startups. Like if you have a startup idea, right? Like 100 people will have the same idea as you. So like what makes you different is your execution and implementation.
Yeah, I agree with that. At the same time, like even if someone just takes your idea, like this thing happens, like when let's say you want a hackathon with the idea, people might just use the same idea in some other hackathon. Like people do that a lot. But that's something that judges keep in mind as well. Like we have done that before. For example, I was at a hackathon judging in Waterloo, and over there we spent like at least half an hour, I believe, to figure out if this is like a stolen idea or not, or if it's just like some code that someone used before. So don't worry about that. People like the judges take care of it, the organizers take care of it. Just focus on building something cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay. I think that's probably gonna wrap things up since we're almost at the full hour.
Oh, yep.
That was really awesome, you guys. We'll be posting the recording for that on our YouTube channel. Um, yeah, since there are no other questions, I guess that wraps up the workshop. Thank you guys again.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye.